Welcome to Beefy Bets. Cannot wait for UFC 303. I actually think we got a better main event. I think
Yeah.
they had to bolster up the rest of the card to substitute for the star power or the lack thereof of Conor McGregor getting dropped off the card. So, man, I think when it's all said and done, I think we won here with the old Pinky Toe McGregor here situation. Man, how you doing this week, bro?
I'm doing well, man. I guess could be setting myself up for a big time failure with this week's picks because I do have a lot of dogs I'm liking. Also, to your point about the card, we actually got better fights, just lesser star power. So as a hardcore, I'm juiced. I think as a casual, you're sad. I think as a hardcore, you're pumped.
Well, and this has potential to be one of those cards that like ages really well, like Lopes, a couple of years from now, Garry a couple of years from now, Pyfer a couple of years from now, Talbott a couple of years from now.
Oh yeah,
Um,
this is and the
yeah,
UFC does this. They have a history of this where a lot of these younger guys on the undercard are names that they're trying to help build. So like, there's a chance that like John Silva, Peyton Talbot, and Pyfer are guys they're looking at building, and then Fili and Swanson already have names.
yeah, man, dude, Talbot's getting like the machine of the UFC behind him, right?
And
Like he's
and
a
he's the one that's getting the real push, right? Because minus 1,600 odds right now for him. It's a pick. No, I don't think anyone out there's picking Giannis Ghemmouri. I'm gonna love to look up percentage of bets and handle. I guarantee the handle on Giannis Ghemmouri is less than 12%. So that's gonna be hilarious.
But yeah, man, you came here for picks, so let's dive into these picks, folks. Main event: Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka, weight championship. What's this money line at? I might have moved. I did my research yesterday.
So Alex Pereira minus 135, Yuri plus 115. It's come back down a lot. I saw it at Yuri plus 140 just 2 days ago.
Yeah, the money's coming in on Yuri, for sure, which I get it. I get it. I know how you're going with this, so I'll get my pick out of the way. I'm going Pereira 2 stars. I really do, and this is going to be maybe a caveman pick. I'm not even going to really bring up the last fight. Um, really do believe that Pereira is the best light heavyweight in the world, man. Like I really do call it. The kids on the internet these days are calling it aura. Yuri himself is calling it shaman magic. I don't know if you've seen those
Yes,
interviews.
yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy type shit. It makes me nervous about my pick. In fact.
I I'm in on the Peloton Kool-Aid, and then I don't know. Peloton also did an interview. Not saying I'm basing this pick off interviews. I really just believe that Peloton is maybe 5% better. I don't think he's leaps and bounds better than Europe Prochazka. I just think that he's the best guy in the world. For how much longer? I don't know. He's 36 or he's getting older. Will that be the same answer 12 months from now? I don't know. But as we sit here today, I do believe that Alex Pereira is the best light heavyweight in the world. The resume is immaculate. Not that Yuri doesn't have a good resume.
Oh,
But yeah,
Peloton's is better. Peloton's is better. I'm going to give you that just off the rip. Peloton better resume.
I mean, at minus 135, it'll be interesting to see if this actually makes its way onto my parlay. I could see a world where it does not. And I think the one time we saw Peloton, the only kind of, I don't even know if this is considered X's and O's, just the point I wanted to bring up on my Pereira pick, then I'll turn over the floor to you. When we saw Pereira lose, you got your Yuri rookie cards
I
out?
keep them
Hell
near
yeah.
me always.
Sick, dude. But saw Pereira lose to Izzy, and I've experienced this before my own athletic career. I believe he was like fighting emotionally, and I think that led to some of it
I agree.
when he got caught. We both remember the epic Pereira Prochazka stare down. They're both so stoic. They don't hate each other.
No,
So
it's all respect. It's all respect.
yeah.
But it's like
And,
it's respect at the level of like the stare down you saw at the weigh-in and at the fight. They won't break their stare because it's a measure of their own fortitude as a man. And so like they're
yeah,
unwilling to make that sacrifice for themselves. It's not anything against their opponent. It's who they are.
but to that greater end, like I think that Yuri almost would be better off trying to piss him off or make him fight emotion. I know that's not Yuri's game. That's not Yuri's bag. Like that's not what he's about. But like, I just don't know if these openings will be there. Like I think if Pereira was mad and charging in, like kind of like he did against Izzy, it would give Yuri a better chance. I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm going Pereira 2 stars. Not ultra bullish on it. But I just want to bring up that point. I do think he's the best in the world, and I don't think he'll fight emotional, which is really one of the things that led to the opening of him getting caught against Adesanya. I'll turn the floor over to Mark. I mean, Harrison.
So I have Yuri as 2 stars, but let me tell you why. Okay, first time they fought.
As Yuri's head floats above your left shoulder, yeah. Please enlighten us.
Yeah. For anyone wondering, right here, you see the man. It's a nice beard. It is better than Dom Reyes' fucking weird looking face next to him. I mean, the guy posed downward to look scary. Whereas Yuri just looks scary. Yeah. Point being though is that I like Yuri for a couple reasons, and here's what they are. The first time these guys fought, UFC 295, tremendously awesome fight, right? And Yuri, in preparation for his rematch with Glover, ripped his shoulder apart. By Dana's own admission, one of the worst injuries he said he's ever seen in his life. Thought Yuri might not be able to come back. Anyway, Yuri comes back, and when he does, his fight is against Poatan. That's a tough comeback, especially whenever they said that they didn't think he'd be ready in time to make that fight happen, but miraculously he was ready. I think that we saw him against Rakic. He looked more or less the same as he always does, you know. I mean,
yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Like, I would say he looked like old Yuri. I don't think he looked much different. Even in the Poatan fight, I don't necessarily look different. I just think that I like Yuri not coming off the injury after getting a win, feeling just fully confident in himself. I think this fight all comes down to each guy individually. I don't think it has anything to do with what the opponent does. I think it's, like you said, Poatan not fighting emotionally. It's Yuri being smart and making the fight, forcing the fight to happen his way while also being a little safer about the leg kicks.
Yeah, man. The leg kicks, it's interesting. I saw some sparring footage came out, and I don't know, you probably saw the same video floating around the internet where Yuri's sparring partner was imitating Poatan and actually doing a really good job. Like,
Yeah, it was
got
nice.
like the rhythm. He was running a good scout team. He was running a good scout team out there, but somebody in the comments, I'll be real. I wish I was a smart mark that figured this out. But somebody in the comments pointed it out, like, yo, even in this fake sparring match, Yuri's still not addressing the leg kicks. Like, so, like, that gave me cause for pause, as we like to say. Like, even in your fake practice, and like even in your own mind's eye of how this should look, you're still not checking leg kicks. So that's a little point of a little contention there. And then also, man, like, you mentioned the Rakic fight. Like, Rakic was having a lot of success until he wasn't, man. I agree.
Reckless. I think Poatan once again dominates round 1, starts ahead in round 2, and if Yuri doesn't get caught, I think he starts to win the fight from that point on, and I think he can finish Poatan before round 4.
I'll say this, going back to Yuri Glover, I think if it does get to rounds 4 and 5 as a Poatan fan / potential bettor, I would be a little nervous. But you're right, them first 3 rounds.
Especially because who has a harder weight cut? Yuri cuts no weight. Poatan's cutting all the weight. And this is short notice. Poatan is recovering from broken toes, so you know he wasn't training hard because he's
definitely wasn't running a lot.
Right, and so I think there's a lot physically that favors Yuri as far as how fast this fight was made. And his shoulder probably being 100% now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I like Pereira. You like Prochazka, but neither one of us are ultra bullish. We'll see how this kind of works our way into our dogs and parlays, best bets of the section. But how many stars are you going? I don't think you gave out your stars. How many stars are you going on Yuri here?
So 2 on him. But let me tell you as well, I'm gonna bet him as a straight just because he's my favorite UFC fighter. Not because I should or shouldn't, but literally just fandom. I'm gonna bet him. And
I think that's really cool that you're being like transparent with the viewing audience. So I think that, you know, we are fans at the end of the day. That's like our whole thing. Fucking, you know what I mean? We're not fighters. We're not coaches. Like, we are fans. So, like, fucking sue us for betting on our favorite fighter. You know what I mean? But we're being upfront and honest with y'all about that.
Fully agree. Let's keep it pushing. The next fight, also a banger, and not going to be an underdog pick for me. So we have featherweight division, Diego Lopes -150, Brian Ortega +125. I actually like Diego Lopes here as 2 stars at the -150.
You said Ortega's +125?
Yes, sir.
Man, to be honest, and this is going to be some weak sauce shit, I already know, and I'm not. I wish I, like, had a hot take to give you. I'm no betting this one, bro. This is, I was going back and forth and having, like, a straight-up, like, courtroom lawyer debate in my own, like, kitchen, like, researching this one. Like, if you think the only guy of this level that has a spot was Evloya, and he was largely able to like make it competitive using his jiu-jitsu, obviously. Well, like, good luck with that against T City, right? But on the other side, like, I give the striking advantage, even though Ortega's striking has looked better as of late. I 1,000% give the striking and the power and the athletic advantage to Diego Lopes. So I mean, betting this one, like, I feel like I might as well go take that money and throw it in a slot machine. Like, I feel like it's basically a coin flip, or if I put it on the roulette table, black or red. Like, I really do feel like this is a coin flip. Maybe I like the over, but also Diego Lopes can spark dudes, and Ortega does get touched. I guess, gun to my head, I'd probably pick Lopes because I think there is that path to victory on the feet that I don't see for Ortega. I said, I kept going back and forth with this one like I was fucking schizophrenic, dude. I was like literally like arguing with myself. Like, I'll turn the floor over to you because they said this is probably a no bet for me. If you like show me a prop that you really like on this one, or if you just sell me the Honda in red, I'll hear you out here, man. Floor is yours.
So I don't think there's much I'm going to sell just because the minus 150 isn't the best number. I would love Lopes as a dog here. As a favorite, it's not my favorite. So I have him as 2 stars to win, but probably not a fight I'm going to bet just because I see a lot of value in this card. I mean, I talked to you about how there's 5 underdogs I like. So, minus 150, I'm not chomping at the bit for it when I don't love it, and I think he probably should be more like a minus 105. Like, I think Ortega should get the respect of being Brian Ortega and fighting who he's fought. All that being said...
And, like, let's not forget Ortega coming off the Yair win. Like, you could argue that's better than any win. I mean, not even argue. That is better than any win that Diego Lopes has. Like, I'm sorry, Sadiq.
Ortega was getting pieced up in the first round of that. But also, I think a big part of it is who has better offensive grappling as far as getting a takedown. I think that's actually Diego Lopes. Who has better striking? I think it's Diego Lopes. Who's going to take steps forward? I think that's Diego Lopes. Like, I think a lot of the offensive metrics favor Diego Lopes.
And I think Diego Lopes is like the better athlete here. You know what? Instead of taking this weak sauce money line, real talk, I guess I'm talking out of both sides of my neck here because I'm saying no bet on the money line. But like, if you're gonna bet this, I say you can go balls deep and go like Diego Lopes first round KO and just juice it to the gills. Like, because I don't know, like maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my neck here, but I'm just saying, like, because I think Lopes is the much more explosive guy. Like, I don't think the power's close. The fight obviously starts on the feet. Like, I think before I take one of these weak sauce money lines, I would just go full juice the gills, like Lopes by KO or Lopes first round finish, like something like that, and just squeeze some value out of it. But also, I am the value gremlin, so maybe don't listen to me here. But I just, I don't know, man.
You might find this interesting. So their odds to win by submission are identical, both plus 550. Ortega's odds to win by KO TKO plus 600. Lopez's odds to win by TKO KO plus 175.
Point well taken. Vegas kind of agrees with your boy. But you're right. I don't think either guy gets subbed. I think both guys' jiu-jitsu is too good to get subbed. And, like, if you ever watch, like, grappling tournaments and shit, which I'm not saying I watch a ton, but I'll check them out every once in a while on One Championship or something on YouTube. But what I'm getting at is here, you'd be surprised at the amount of grappling matches that don't end in submissions because both parties, like, know the defense is so like good.
A lot of this MMA submissions between guys that are this high level in jiu-jitsu comes down to the striking and damage because the damage is what is different than when they're actually just rolling. And Diego Lopes has that advantage.
Or exhaustion, like when Yuri subbed Glover.
So that worries me too, right? That's what worries me here is 5-round fight. So
does Diego, 5 rounds?
It is 5 rounds. Does Diego Lopes?
I'm glad you brought that to the table.
Does Diego Lopes have cardio for 4 and 5? I don't know with his style.
Also, can Ortega's chin...
Ortega has a crazy chin, actually.
He does, but, like, is there a featherweight more... Outside of Ilya Topuria, have we seen a featherweight with, like, better power than Lopes? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Holloway has
maybe,
great power as well and landed the
but
most
that's
strikes like maybe ever in the featherweight division aside from Calvin Cater on Ortega. He was teaching him how to box without being able to knock him out.
I always hated these takes, but back when that fight happened, people were like calling Holloway pillow hands because he was breaking all these records without knocking guys out.
Yeah, until he lands a clean flush one on a guy weight up that has a fucking iron chin, and they say, "Oh."
Yeah, no, agreed. I was never making those, but as Boston Connor would say, that's what they were saying.
Yeah. Hey. Love that shit.
But man, all right, bro. So I mean, sounds like you're going Lopez. You said 1 star, 2 stars,
two stars. 2 stars. I do think he has enough advantages where I feel a little more confident than a 1 star. I mean, a 1 star is like a full no bet essentially with a lean. I have more than a lean here. I think 150 is probably the realistic number.
Get a pussy. I'll take it from no bet to Lopez 1 star.
Because I do think he has enough advantages. Like where I think Ortega's advantages exist are cardio and maybe defensive, like submission defense, if that makes sense. Like it's going to be very hard for Lopez to get a submission, and if he can't get that submission and it's on the ground a lot, does he get tired by the end of the third? And in 4 and 5, does Ortega start to put pace on him and dominate those rounds?
Yeah, and just like one last little X factor, then we'll keep it pushing here. Like, I feel like Lopez still has that belief. I think Ortega has kind of is like he's at that point of his career. He's like, well, probably not the best in the world, but I'm still really good. I'm gonna get these checks. Like, you get that vibe from Ortega? Like,
Lopez is the hungrier guy here. I mean, not to say that Ortega's not hungry, but for Ortega, what does beating Lopez do as far as getting a title shot? It doesn't help you as much.
Like more of a savage, right? Like Lopez was calling for Mossar again. Like Lopez is he's not scared of it. And I'm not saying Ortega is scared. I just think that Ortega might have that tiny inkling of whether you call it complacency or self-doubt. Well, Lopez is fucking razor's edge. You know what I mean?
Also, Lopez stays in training shape year round because he's constantly training and doing grappling competitions, stuff like that. So he isn't Ortega gets out of camp, gets 20 pounds above his weight before a cut, diets 20 pounds off, and then cuts. He eats like a fat kid. Whereas Lopez stays year round ready to go. This fight was also shorter notice than normal. I think that leans in Lopez's favor.
You're right, bro. You're right, man. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, you talked me into / we worked our way to. I'll go Lopez 1 star. I won't be a complete pussy and say no, but I'll stick my neck out there a little bit. But let's keep it pushing here to this is my first favorite dog. I imagine it's yours too.
Absolutely.
Man, we got Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Anthony Smith, last time I looked, he was plus 120. What's he sitting at now?
Plus 125.
Ooh, even better, my friend. Yeah, man, I just think so. Smith was accepting fights. Who was Smith's original fight that he accepted was against Carlos Ulberg, right?
And Dolidze,
which I think we all agree is a harder fight.
And Dolidze typically obviously a middleweight. And yes, Ulberg, much harder fight.
Younger, harder, bigger, scarier. Dolidze, man, you look at Dolidze's resume. You don't talk about a resume that has not aged well. Those wins are sensational. Yeah, man, and also, so I liked Smith as a dog even before I saw this. I saw something else come across my my algo that apparently Smith has cashed like a dog 8 different times. I'm Smith. I mean, he beat us last time. We bet Petrino.
Yes.
So Smith does cash as a dog against younger fighters, and also Dolidze is not younger. I think they're the same age, or I mean, they're both old. So who cares?
I also think Dolidze does not beat guys that are top 10 guys. I think he waits for guys to make mistakes and takes advantage of mistakes. I think he's getting a little long in the tooth. I think the last time we've seen Dolidze out, he did not look good. I think the last time we saw Smith out, he looked way better than we give him credit for. And Anthony Smith is going to be. I listened to his podcast with Bisping, and he's talked about how in this calendar year he's taking the approach of he's not doing the Brian Ortega thing. He's not getting out of camp. He's going to stay in fight shape, essentially just floating above his weight cut at all times because he just wants to be active and he wants to fight.
Yeah, bro. Well, just think about paths to victory here. All right, on the feet, Smith is going to be rangier, longer. I think you can maybe even argue faster. And then, like, obviously in, like, the jiu-jitsu exchanges, like, give me Anthony Smith. I think Dolidze's one path to victory would be kind of getting him up against the fence and letting some knees and elbows go. Well, guess who else knows that? Anthony Smith is, like, a borderline coach, analyst type guy. Like, he's going to know to, like, avoid those positions. He's not going to Johnny Walker himself up against the fence, I don't think. So, like, yeah, man, I love Anthony Smith here. Plus 125. Looking like dog of the week. I have one more dog I like. You have a couple more dogs that you like, but this may be the one we're more like lockstep on. And at plus 125, not the riskiest dog of the week. I'm liking Smith as a strong dog of the week candidate.
Smith,
short notice for Dolidze too, like shorter notice than Smith.
So how many stars do you have on Smith? Because he's probably my dog of the week. I mean, he has more stars than the other dog I have. So.
You know what? I'm adding a third star just to be true to my scale because I had him at 2, but I feel more confident about Smith than I do Pereira, if I'm being honest. And I have Pereira at 2, so but like to be true to my own scale, I'm adding my third star. It's a 3rd out of 5 stars.
I appreciate it. We both agree. Yeah, just a good matchup for Anthony Smith. I think he's smart enough to avoid what Roman Dolidze is good at, which is not a whole lot of things. And Anthony Smith is very good, or not very good, but good at everything and very good at a couple things. So I like the diversity of skill set. I like the approach he's taking to his fighting career at this time and point where he's just saying, like, he's almost accepting the role of, like, yeah, I'm back in troll of 205, so I'm just going to stay active, stay ready, and, like, if I can chain together 2 or 3 in a row, I might be able to throw my name in the ring for a title shot. I really do think that's how he's viewing it, and that's probably the realistic approach.
No, for sure, man. And like you said, the last time out, Dolidze didn't look great. Anthony Smith killed the Vitor Petrino hype train and cost us some money that night. So I think he's ready to go back, like you said, back locked and loaded, focused up. Yeah, man, let's keep it pushing to the women's bantamweight fight, what I assume is a number 1 contenders match here. Myra Bueno Silva taking on Macy Chiasson. No, Silva 1 star here. When I looked, she was minus 105. What's the line sitting at?
Minus 110 each way.
Yeah, I mean, so I really don't feel bullish on this one. Either girl could win. I think if you bet Chiasson, you're probably better off betting her by decision. She has kind of a snoozy style. Bueno Silva, I think a little more dangerous, especially when it comes to the submissions. In the words of Chiasson and MMA math works all the time. They do have a common opponent. Whenever Myra Bueno Silva fought Rocky Pennington, she took her to decision. When Chiasson fought Rocky Pennington, she got finished, which that's saying something because Rocky doesn't finish anybody. So I know that's not the end all be all. I mean, unless you're going to tell me Chiasson's really tall, then I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have a ton to break down on this one. I'm going 1 star. Vegas has it as a pick 'em. I mean, do you feel bullish about this one? I don't.
I have Chiasson as 2 stars, but only for...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's bullish, but the Rocky Pennington loss obviously has aged incredibly well. Now, here's why I'm not going to say that same thing is true for Myra Bueno Silva. Myra Bueno Silva looked like dog shit in that fight. That fight was terrible. MBS looked terrible. And as well, if you look at the other loss Chiasson just had to Irina Aldana, Chiasson was winning that fight until she got upkicked in the liver, which we've never seen before.
That's right.
That shit was wild, and she lost halfway through the 3rd in a round where if she just falls on top of her and doesn't get upkicked in the liver, she wins the round, wins the fight. So... I'm just saying, she was 1 up kick away from winning that fight 100%.
And I do like Aldana a lot. I'm glad you reminded me about that. That's one of those ones that, and we talked, I remember actually mentioned this on the podcast. Like, when you look back on Tapology in 18 months, it's not going to really do it justice. And I fucking fell victim to it.
Right. So I think Chiasson is actually, and her first round sub of Pandy Kianzad, well, who the fuck cares? But I just think Bueno Silva looked very bad in her last fight out. I think that Bueno Silva is selling used goods at this point, or in other words, her best days are behind her. Whereas I think
Chiasson had to get off the sauce, right? Like got busted for PEDs and then looked like shit in her first fight after getting off PEDs, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and also for Chiasson, 5 inches taller, The reach is 6 inches, and then Bueno Silva is also. Oh damn, she has the same birthday as me, 8/22. Shout out. They're both 32, but Bueno Silva just. I don't know, man. I just don't see. She doesn't seem like she has youthful tendencies. Neither girl does, but I think that favors Chiasson.
Also, for what it's worth, how many times have we seen these female fighters start leaning into the OnlyFans and shit, and their fight fucking career falls apart? I mean, I guess not Eileen Perez, but you know, you can't really fall off from mid to mid. So, like, but these, like, I don't know, man. I feel you. You know what? I'm swapping out my Ortega Lopez no bet for a Chiasson Bueno Silva no bet, which I was never really going to bet that anyway. So, okay. I'll give a Lopez pick and a no bet on this one because I had Bueno Silva 1 star. I honestly love everything you just brought to the table on the Chiasson lawyer defense team over there. But I'll swap out my no bets. I'll give a pick on Lopez and swap out my no bet for a Bueno Silva Chiasson. I just hope the fight's good, man. Like, because that's a fight that I'm not stoked for when I saw it on paper. I don't think it will be.
Don't think it's going to be a good fight. I'm going to burst your bubble and say it's not going to be a good fight.
I don't think it is. I need it to be though. Because like that's has stinker written all over it. Also, so does this next fight, bro. Am I the only one? I think Garry Page might be fucking snooze fest 5,000.
Chiasson decision plus 150. I don't hate that. I might put that in my bet.
Plus 150. I probably won't. But
it's not juicy enough. But I'm just saying, if I like her at minus 110, I might as well take the plus 150 on the decision.
I got some over unders I've been looking into that I really like this week. So whenever we get to them. But I will make sure I mention them there. But
yes, to your point, let's keep it pushing. Michael Venom Page, Ian Garry.
Real quick.
Oh yes,
one of those over unders I forgot to mention. We're talking about the main event. Pereira Prochazka under 1.5 at plus 135. Thoughts on that?
I like the over.
The over. Okay. Yeah. So does Vegas. So fair enough. You talked me out of that one.
Although I mean, plus 130. So you're talking minus 160. I don't hate that. On the other side, if we're going to build a parlay out of that, like that's not bad.
Five round fight. Round fight.
Right, yeah.
No, that's fair.
Take those.
Yeah, for sure, brother. All right. But yeah, you introduced Ian Garry, Michael Venom Page. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. So Ian Garry, Michael Venom Page got Michael Venom Page plus 130 right now. Ian Garry minus 150.
Minus 150. All right. And I know I sound like minty bets here. I swear I have some bullish picks coming up on the prelims. I got Garry like 1 star. This is the definition of a mirror match. Yeah. I mean, they're so similar. Same height, same style. And that's why I think this could be snoozing.
Not the same reach. 5.5 inch difference in reach. That's going to mean a lot for guys that keep distance and only monitor distance.
They do keep distance, but Garry uses more kicks. I don't know, brother. I think this is a mirror match. Give me the youth.
How are you going to time a kick on MVP when he does that weird entry and sits so far back that you can't actually kick him? I'm just saying he disarms kicks by his own distance management and movement.
All right, and like I said, I'm not here to like die on the Ian Garry hill. I'm just I picked him 1 star, and I'll give you one more kind of caveman math point that like came to my mind when I was thinking about this fight. Like Kevin Holland like pushed MVP to like a very snoozy decision, right?
Agree.
I think Ian Garry's like a better Kevin Holland. I mean, that's why I can see Garry eking out. That's not the word. I don't know, but eking. Yeah, I can see Garry eking out a snoozy decision, like just MMA math here. But all right, Venom Page and Kevin Holland are here. It's a slightly better version of Kevin Holland. That leaves you here.
But we've disagreed on this for a long time. Whereas, I've had MVP essentially a top 5 welterweight for myself, top 6 for a long time.
I have him top 5 right now, though. So I've come around. I have MVP at 5. I have Garry at 3. I think Garry.
And I like Garry so much, and I think that's a fair ranking. I think the style and matchup, this is the worst possible matchup for him, simply because it's a guy that negates his ability to land leg kicks and body kicks at distance and manage distance with the kicks. Because MVP is going to stand so far away, and so when Garry tries to throw a leg kick, MVP's out of that. You're not going to land that. when he tries to, he's never got the body kicks. Obviously, you can't land a leg kick. When MVP bursts in, I don't know that Garry has the timing to catch him on the way in.
I think that's something, and maybe I'm giving Garry the benefit of the doubt here. I think in round one that may ring true. We talked about it on last week's recap quite a bit. How I think Garry is at the level where he can make that read over the course of the fight. You're right. I think round one you may be very correct.
I think round one is for sure MVP. I think round two is gets questionable, and I think Garry wins 3. I think MVP wins a snoozy fight in a 29-28 decision. I literally can almost paint these rounds in my head.
That's why, honestly, we're both basically saying the same thing. We're just saying which side the judges are going to come out on. What's the over here? What's the goes to decision here?
Fight goes to decision minus 175, over 2.5 minus 225.
Yeah, so not a lot of value there. Yeah, man. I think I'm just going to stay away from this.
Page by decision plus 225, Garry by decision plus 150. I don't hate the Page by decision either.
Page by decision, at least the value makes like the juice worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Because like that, even as a guy who's picking Garry 1 star, by picking Garry 1 star, I'm saying that Page by decision is fully on the table. Like even if it's a decision I disagree with, you know what I'm saying? I think this is going to be one of those fights that's close, kind of snoozy, goes to decision. At least we have Vegas judges, but I just don't think I'm probably going to pick Garry on verdict. I don't think any of those props. So Page by decision is kind of juicy, but I'm going to try to not be a value hunting gremlin this week. So I'm probably going to stay away from this one. I'll give a Garry 1 star pick. Well, you going Page 1 star or 2 star? 2 star McGee over here. I guess I'm 1 star McGee, so I can't.
Yeah, like I said, I have a lot of 2 star dogs I like. Smith's the 3 star dog, so that's why he's probably my dog of the week. But,
yeah, looking like it.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to build probably like a half unit 4 dog parlay and get like plus 4,000.
That's my dog. That's my motherfucking dog right there. Legend. But yeah, man, I guess we can keep it pushing. Like, we both think it's going to go to decision, but like there's no really value on those props because Vegas agrees with this. It's just such a mirror match, Such a mirror match.
A mirror match where I think it's a hard stylistic match for Garry specifically. I think Michael Venom Page thrives on guys that want to strike at distance, whereas I think Garry hasn't fought someone that really thrives that way like he does.
Agreed. I guess the question is, do you think that Garry can have more success than Holland had?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, that's kind of my only point, and that was a very, very close decision. Do you see where
I just think that like the way the rounds are going to look, it's going to be MVP looking like he's winning rounds. It's a weird thing to say.
I think it's going to be me looking at the back of my eyelids in a fucking snooze fest.
I agree. But, I think it's going to be a shit fight. Now, granted, this is going to be the one where someone gets absolutely flatlined in like 4.
I hope so.
Ian Garry a little chinny, so might slow myself on the Page by decision.
Because I am nervous about watching Garry Page and Bueno Chiasson back to back after about 6 long drinks. I'm a little nervous.
And before we keep it pushing, which we will, because I know we're getting a little long on these fights, but main card, big card. I also think that that MVP, the shots he landed on Holland has a crazy chin. I don't know that Ian Garry can eat those same shots if he eats them. If he eats them, big question.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I'm not going to push back on that. Man, this next one's interesting for me. We got Joe Pyfer taking on Marc-Andre Barriault, the power bar. I got Pyfer power rank 21. I got Barriault ranked 39 in my personal power rankings. Barriault does have the KO loss to Chidi and Joe Kuwani, who I know it's not apples to apples, very different styles, but I think Pyfer's definitely more explosive than Chidi.
I think it's very comparable, which dangerous for Barriault here, in my opinion, because if you look at the Eric Anders fight, he's down to get into the pocket and trade and brawl. I think that's where Joe Pyfer succeeds. Like, that's what Jack Hermanson will not do, and that's why Jack Hermanson beat Joe Pyfer.
And I was thinking the same thing, and I was like, and Pyfer is just like super Eric Anders, right? Like kind of simple, but just
like
super
supercharged,
athlete.
like literally like Super Saiyan Eric Anders.
I literally thought that same thing in my head. So I like Pyfer here, 3 stars, maybe 4 stars here. Because if I'm going if I'm going 3 stars on Anthony Smith, I might have to go 4 stars on Pyfer.
You know what? I'm gonna ride the wave with you. Let's go Pyfer 4 stars. Let's use him as a parlay piece.
My dog. Yeah, because what's the number at? When I looked, it was minus 305, which I don't love, but if we're going on a parlay 4 stars, it kind of makes sense.
Oh, no. We're getting better value than that. Oh, well, minus 300, so.
Okay. Hey, yeah. I mean, I'm not mad when that number goes the other way, even if it's by 5 points here. But yeah, minus 300, perfect parlay candidate. We're pretty confident in it. Because, like, Power Bar, I mean, this whole thing, that is the thing, though. Like, if this does get into the third round, it will get interesting. You got the obvious cardio advantage to Barriault. Pyfer, very explosive, very go for it in the first round kind of guy. So, like, if Barriault, if this fight does, make it over 2.5, I will start to tilt for Barriault. But I imagine if it does last that long, then Pyfer's probably inflicted a good amount of damage along the way. At least, we would hope as Pyfer backers here.
It looks like over 2.5 plus 110. I certainly think it's the under. I like the Pyfer KO TKO here. Plus,
yeah, what is that?
Plus 140. I mean, not great.
Not horrible. I do not hate that. Pyfer by KO. I mean, it's a candidate. It's a candidate for sure. Pyfer by KO plus 140. But yeah, cool, man. I'm glad. I was anxious to get your opinion on that one, and we're both pretty much lockstep. So that makes me feel real good. Strong parlay candidate there. Sweet, man. Let's keep it pushing here. Woo, the dogs are barking here. I think.
Oh, no way.
Like. Really? All right, man. We got Cub Swanson, Andre Fili, plus 200. I like what's the number at this one sitting at?
Plus 205 for Swanson, minus 250 for Fili.
Yeah, I like Cub Swanson here. Call value monster if you want. To me, this is like a pick'em. So this is more like a Billy Walters kind of like. To me, these guys are the same tier of fighter, same like they're both. I think, obviously Cub's a little bit older, but Fili has so many miles, so many like bad KOs. I think that like age, mileage, pretty comparable. I think Cub has way better wins, and I'm not even talking about back in his prime. I'm talking about recently. Fili, there's just nothing impressive about Fili, like to me, really at all as of late, or really debatably ever. I mean, he gets the occasional highlight KO here. But against Cans, I think all the guys that Fili knocks out are like worse fighters than Cub Swanson. I think Cub Swanson will have a game plan. I think Cub Swanson has the grappling advantage. I mean, obviously Fili has the power advantage, like sure. I think mileage, but also let's not act like Fili's not chinny. I actually like Cub Swanson's chin more than I like Fili. So if I'm giving Fili I think Fili's path to victory is probably a knockout. Don't see that happening for Cub. I mean, I said Cub is my second and only dog I like on this card. So I'm strongly considering doing a little 1-unit sprinkle here at that number. Like I said, it's not that I think that Cub Swanson is leaps and bounds better than Fili. I just think that they're basically like the same tier of fighter. I think this is very good matchmaking, actually. So like the number being in the 200s, like I just like sniffing a little value there on the dog.
You know what's weird is I'll give credence to your point of that, like when you look at their records and just think about who they fought, how they looked, how those are aging, things like that. It's not crazy to think that plus 205 is a little large for Swanson. I just think that at 40 years old, at featherweight, I mean, that's going to play a role at some point. And I know that Cub Swanson and Andre Fili, like Swanson has maybe 7 more fights in his career, so it's not like the fight miles are so much longer. I just feel like at 40, at 145, and he's a small featherweight, he's getting close to like that Frankie Edgar point of worry where it's like his chin's going to crack at some point and it's not going to come back in any sort of semblance. And I almost wonder if Andre Fili doesn't find it here. This for me is a no bet, but I could see Fili with the KO TKO.
Yeah, I mean, that is his path to victory. I'll just say that, like, let's not talk like, yeah, I mean, Fili got starched in the first round his last fight out, and that was 4 months ago? But that was 4 months ago.
Yeah, but I just don't think Swanson has that level of power.
No, and I'm not here trying to convince you that he does. I'm just saying, like, if anybody's vulnerable about getting chinned here,
Well, I think if they're going to strike, I'm more worried for Swanson than I am for Fili.
Agreed. Like I think Swanson, but like I think Swanson will, for sure should and hopefully does like get in close, even if it's over the fence. I think if the snoozier this fight is, probably the better it is for Cub Swanson. Like I'm acknowledging all that. If they're going to war, if this is a slugfest, if this looks like Hag Perez Gordon, then yeah, give me Fili. I just think that like I guess I'm giving credit to like Swanson's like fight IQ to like kind of get this fight to a place where he's not in that level of danger. I think he knows what you're saying and what I'm saying, and I'm sure his coaches and his camp, and like I'm sure they know all this same shit and are probably actively going to try to avoid those type of situations. So like I think we both see this fight kind of similarly. It's just that like I guess I'm giving benefit of the doubt to like maybe avoid those type of wild exchanges where he can get caught. But if this fight was plus 140, I probably wouldn't be on it as hard. Plus 200, plus 205, I wouldn't mind a little 1 unit sprinkle on Cub, is all I'm saying.
I'll put it this way: if we were betting every fight at 1 unit, I would bet on Swanson for the return on the units across the board, if that makes sense. If we were just betting straight money lines. If we're gonna pick money lines, I just don't love this fight. So for me, like I said, no bet for you. It sounds like what, Swanson 1 star, 2 stars?
I had it at 3. You talked me down to 2. So
good. I'm glad I did. Hopefully, I don't regret saying that. We'll keep it pushing though. Honestly, close fight, interesting fight. Charles Jourdain versus Gian Silva. Charles Jourdain minus 120, Gian Silva plus 100. What are you feeling here?
Man, so this brings me back saying a lot lately how we want to start riding experience more and veterans more and not get sucked into hype trains and guys with 2 wins. Well, guess who has 2 wins? It's Gian Silva. So I think I'm going to take our own advice here and like before we're kind of kicking ourselves in the ass again. I think I'm going to lean on the experience, the level of competition, the veteran kind of nature, but also without age. Usually when you say all those things, there's like a big age gap. I think Jourdain's only 28. So we kind of get to have our cake and eat it too. We get the more experienced guy, the more battle-tested guy, without having to take a flyer on an old guy. I like Jourdain. Only 2 stars here. Minus 120, 2 stars though. I could see myself if I'm searching for a parlay guy, or I mean that's straight bet territory at minus 120. I don't know, man. I'm gonna kind of. Like I said, we've been talking on the pod a lot lately about kind of riding experience. I'm gonna kind of take our own advice here and ride with Charles Jourdain.
I am as well, actually, for most of the same reasons that you just said, as well as I think that Gian Silva, if you go back and watch his Bernardo Sopai fight, he gets taken down and controlled by Sopai, and he's not really in control of the fight until after the midway point of the fight, and he lands that crazy knee when Sopai is brutally exhausted in the 3rd round.
I think that was Vinicius Oliveira. Was that not Vinicius Oliveira that knocked out Sopai?
Yeah. But I'm sorry.
Honestly,
I mixed him up. That's for my breakdown with Ricky Simone later. The Weston Wilson win. That's Gian Silva. So
that's what I was going to say. Like,
Weston
still
Wilson win. That's what I want to get to. Is that if you're gonna value Weston Wilson's win over Jekka Seregi, don't. That was can-on-can violence. What you saw was Gian Silva knocking out a can in his fight, and Charles Jourdain is absolutely not a can.
The jump from Weston Wilson to Charles Jourdain, like we just saw it last week, Ikram Al-Skarab jumping up like 5 tiers. Like, this is a huge jump. And to kind of, to illustrate the point, I have Jourdain at 39 and Silva at 57. So big gap in the power rankings, honestly, big gap in experience.
Your power rankings almost make me want to push it to 3 stars for betting value, because minus 120 on an 18 gap difference at featherweight, where it's actually a big deal, like probably almost 3 tiers of difference. That's a big deal.
Just added my 3rd star, bro, because like the fact that we're so lockstep, and this is the card we've been seeing things a little bit differently, disagreeing a little bit. So for us to be lockstep on this one makes me feel good about it, and the value is great.
Yeah,
because that's about how I see it. Like I don't think that in a vacuum, skill for skill, Jourdain is super way better than Gian Silva. Just like you said, experience, fight camps, strategy, fight IQ, ability to dig deep, all those kind of secondary, tertiary boxes are more checked for Jourdain.
Yeah, I think if Gian Silva was going to try to bring a war to Charles Jourdain, I don't think he's ready for how long that's going to last, especially because Charles Jourdain's going to weather the storm. So if the storm is only 5 minutes, you're shit out of luck. Sopai couldn't weather the storm because he took it on short notice. God, I keep doing that with Oliveira. Holy shit. Weston Wilson is a can, man. Oh, I cannot believe I keep doing that. That is so frustrating. Weston Wilson is a can, and if you try to convince me otherwise, I'll eat my Jekasaragi shovel full of actual cow shit before I would recognize Weston Wilson as a quality win.
Yeah, the strength of schedule. I mean, coming off the Sean Woodson split decision loss, and I'm not mistaken, one of us might have given that to Jourdain. It might have been
fight,
me.
And it's a tough fight for Jourdain stylistically. Like Sean Woodson, 6'1". I don't know how he makes featherweight, but also long and doesn't really like bring the fight to you. Likes to fight defensively backwards.
Professional boxer too. Professional boxer. The Ricardo Ramos win, not bad. Carl Gracie win was weird, but it was on a big main card, so that kind of adds to the experience. Elton Nathaniel Wood's not great. Whatever. Elta Shane Burgos aged pretty well, and that was a banger.
It was close
win
fight,
over
too.
Lando Venata, win over Andre Ewell, lost to Arosa's not great, but to the credit, never even fought anybody as good as Julian Arosa. So, you know what I mean? We don't know if Julian Arosa would beat him or not. At least Jourdain has been there, done that.
That was what I was going to say, too, is that Silva hasn't fought or beaten anyone that's as good as anyone that Jourdain's lost to. I think that's an important MMA math factor.
I love how you worded that. You worded that a lot less clunkily than I did, for sure, brother. Man, let's keep it pushing to Reno's own Peyton Talbott on the rocket ship to the moon. Let's go.
You know what? I have Talbot as 4 stars, but it's an absolute no bet. And I think minus 1,600, like, it might as well be 5 stars and no bet. This is a feeding. If anything, I would sprinkle on Ghemmouri just because the plus 800 is so goddamn juicy, but absolute no bet.
Yeah, so I do have, this is actually, since we went to the 5-star system, this is my first 5-star pick. But I obviously don't get any credit because it's minus 1,600. I'm not trying to get credit. I get just like Captain Obvious alert. But Bo Nickel might be a 5-star in his next one out.
Yeah. Jesus.
But that's why we moved to this 5-star system, because there is a big difference between like a Peyton Talbot lock and a 3-star. But that being said, I mean, just levels to this game. We both have. I have Peyton Talbot ranked 25th, which at bantamweight is a huge compliment. That division's like 90 guys deep. Looked insanely impressive the last time out. The only kind of, I guess you want to call it X factor, wrinkle, whatever the fuck, Ghemmouri is coming down from featherweight. Not saying that's going to help him, but he's not a small guy. Peyton Talbot's not the biggest bantamweight. So for what it's worth, I mean, the whole sport of MMA was gained popularity. I've kind of proven that size doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the Hoist Gracie days. So, like, for me to sit here and kind of bring up size, but, I mean, it's just a factor, I don't even want to say cause for pause. It's just like, if I'm going to say anything nice about Giannis, the Desert Warrior Ghemmouri, he's not a small man. But
Peyton Talbot,
Peyton
great
Talbot,
athlete, very explosive. That size ain't going to make a difference. 5 stars, we both agree. Yeah, I like how you actually painted a way to at least bet the plus 800. Like, I appreciate it because I couldn't think of that.
We're making content here, baby.
I couldn't think of it. Like, if we want to go back and clip that and put it out as the hottest clickbait, like Matty Betts, I'm here for it. But
no, that's not what I'm trying to. I'm not trying to build my reputation of Giannis Ghemmouri hot takes here.
Oh yeah, you don't want to hunt plus 14,000 parlays and say do not tail and then put slides. Oh yeah, that dude. The marketing, the clickbait of people is like we just give free picks, and we're plus. I still think 200% on the year. I don't know all these gimmick people. We give you real picks with real breakdowns. Like, what do you people want from us?
For sure, brother. But yeah, I mean, no reason to spend really any more time on that one. I am looking forward to watching Peyton Talbot perform, man. And like that, he's from Reno. Every once in a while, I'll see him around town at the skate park and shit. You know, kind of an odd duck, if I'm being honest. But
did you see his most recent interview with the UFC where they asked him about bantamweights and he's like saying like what he thinks about him?
Yeah, and then he just had an interview with Nina Drama drop today. I'm telling you, he's getting the full weight, like the marketing machine of the UFC behind him, and I'm super happy for him. But yeah, man, let's keep it pushing too. Actually, I've been waiting. This might make a good little debate clip here because I think we're going to feel very differently about this one, at least compared to how you were saying on the how you were talking about this fight on our little preview on our recap episode. I really like Jillian Robertson here, bro. We got Jillian Robertson taking on.
You're still on it. Okay, I just wondered.
Yeah, man. We got taking on Michelle Waterson-Gomez. It's more of a Waterson-Gomez fade, and Waterson-Gomez has a lot of losses by sub. We all know that Jillian Robertson's only path to victory is winning by sub. A lot of Robertson's bad performances were at flyweight. Since moving to strawweight, I haven't been like terribly like this, like not like I don't know. I don't think she's looked that bad, dude. I don't know. I'm way more out on Waterson-Gomez at 38 years old in women's strawweight. A bunch of L's, a lot of L's being by sub. I like 4 stars, especially at the value. When I looked, it was minus 185. What's the number at?
So the number is minus 185 still. Waterson-Gomez plus 155. I have Waterson-Gomez 1 star, but it's simply because, I mean, it might as well be a no bet, right? But like I said, I count her on the dogs list because 1 star because I'm leaning. But it's simply because Jillian Robertson has 0 striking. And I think Waterson-Gomez has been around long enough to defend a lot of the basic ass takedowns.
But all right, but like, this is going to be a like philosophical debate, basically, because everything you can say about Robertson's striking, I can say about Waterson's grappling. And this is 1993 style striker versus grappler. So I mean, if you want to make the point, you know what I mean. We can both argue our sides here.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I have it as a 1 star because it's just like, well, whoever forces their skill set to be dominant is who's going to win.
I think that Robertson's going to be like the stronger girl in there. I think Robertson's taking her training more seriously at this point of their career. Like Robertson's always like training really hard. I mean, at least judging off the internet. And then let's pull up Waterson-Gomez's Tapology real quick. I know it's not the end all.
I know it's 5 L's in a row, but I'm just saying like.
But let's fucking sprinkle that shit.
Okay, but I'm not betting it. But how much do you value Piera Rodriguez, Maria Agapova, and Poliana Viana as wins?
I like Poliana. I like 2 out of the 3 of those more than I like Waterson-Gomez. That's what I'm saying here. Like yes. So like yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's where the point of disagreement is. I like Waterson-Gomez more than those girls.
I think 3 years ago I did. I just think Waterson-Gomez is washed. More washed than a laundromat, bro. Waterson-Gomez, 18-12, 38 years old, 5 streak. God, it looks like a YG video with all
4 L's, but
it's like a YG music video with all this red on this Tapology over here.
Which one of her losses?
Let me get that one-liner off.
Which one of her losses is aging poorly?
You're not wrong. It's just at a certain point, like it almost is like.
If you put any of those girls that she lost to, which Marina Rodriguez twice in 2 years is so tough, but Luana Pinheiro and Limosh, I don't even know her first name, fucker. I just think that Robertson is not this caliber of girl. Like, I think Waterson-Gomez is, like, fighting at her level finally. Like, I think this is the same level of girl, but that's why I have it as 1 star. Like, I think the odds are right. I don't know.
All right, I'm just gonna. No, I feel you. I knew going into this one that we were gonna disagree on this one. I knocked it down from 4 stars to 3 stars. I'll say to throw it out there. Tapology has Robertson at 17, Waterson-Gomez at 19.
That would agree with my 1 star.
Well, no. If it was Robertson 1 star, it would.
Well, no, because the value of girls that are ranked side by side, that should be minus 110, but she's plus 155. So that would agree with the Waterson 1 star.
I don't include money lines in my star. So yeah, we have different like approaches to that. So fair. Yeah, fair. All right, but yeah, like I said, I knew we weren't going to agree on this one. I think this is one where I might be a stubborn prick on it and just kind of, I don't know, for what do they call that, bragging rights? I kind of want the bragging rights on this one. I think I might do a little a little parlay including Robertson, just to just so I can ask you to smell my fingers whenever I cash that ticket.
Are you gonna take the Robertson sub? Is the question.
It's a strong candidate. It's a strong candidate. So is Robertson, Waterson under 2.5. You might even. I want to hear your opinion on this one. Waterson, Robertson under 2.5 at plus 130. Like, if you think that Waterson striking is that much better, like I kind of like that because like both girls have their advantage. You know what I mean, in their own category. So like either way has a path to like a runaway victory or a finish. But it is women's strawweight.
Let me say it this way. Waterson-Gomez by KO TKO plus 1,300. No chance. I don't think she has no power. There's no chance. However,
sidekick.
However, Robertson wins by submission plus 240.
That's a strong candidate.
I'm much more likely to bet that than anything else in this fight.
Robertson by sub plus 240. You know what, bro? That is the bet. That's the bet on this fight. Like,
right. Well, Waterson-Gomez gets subbed, like we've seen it.
Yeah. I think that's the bet. I like that way more than I like Robertson minus 185. Yeah. My whole logic on liking Robertson was that Waterson-Gomez loses by sub. So.
Well, yeah, Waterson-Gomez 4 losses in her career by sub. So it's like she loses by sub or decision. And Jillian Robertson wins by sub. And Jillian Robertson has crazy subs that are not normal. Yeah, that's actually the bet. Fuck my 1 star. That's the bet.
Yeah, fuck our whole argument. Fuck our whole argument. Like Robertson by sub. Let's go, boys. All right, man. We'll keep it pushing. From women's strawweight all the way to men's heavyweight. Oh, actually, real quick, what's the Talbott by KO number? I know it's not going to be worth anything. I am just curious here.
It could be just because it might be one of those like they don't know how he's going to win situations. Let's see. No, I passed it. Peyton Talbott by KO is minus 175.
Not the worst, but not typically what I look for in a prop. And then the Talbott Ghemmouri under 1.5 is plus 105. I thought that was worth mentioning. What's worth mentioning, right?
I like that.
Yeah, worth mentioning. I wanted to bring that to the show. And then, Robertson by sub was my other one I wanted to bring up, and you brought that to the show, man. So, we got some strong prop candidates, some strong dog candidates. It'll be interesting ironing out this parlay here in a second. But let's keep it pushing to Buday, Arlovski. Man, I wanted to like Arlovski in this one, but just the more I looked into it, Buday 2 stars here, which doesn't really align with the minus 250 number. Or what's that number sitting at now?
You're correct. Minus 2. Well, let me make sure as of right now. Minus 260 on Arlovski plus 210. I have Martin Buday as 3 stars. Love the matchup.
Sure.
Love Buday's camp. Buday trains with Aspinall. Aspinall is training for a fight right now. Also, Aspinall has beat the fuck out of Arlovski before, so he's going to be able to give him actual, like, hey, I fought this guy, here's what he does, type tips. Buday was a professional gamer before a fighter, so he's one of those guys that's definitely going to fight with strategy over pure physical ability. Give me Buday 3 stars.
Arlovski's 40-5 on a 3L streak.
I know.
Like, everything I was saying about Waterson-Gomez, fighting a striker. Yeah, man. I probably won't bet this one because I don't like the value. But as far as like a verdict pick or like gun to my head, like it's Buday all day. Like, I don't
think it's terrible for parlays if we're going to talk about a 3 to 4 legger.
We're going to have to get into it. It's not off the table. I'll put it that way. It's not on the parlay.
Nice.
At least,
nice.
Yeah. For sure, brother. Yeah. I mean, there ain't too much to say. Power rankings wise, I have Buday at 22, Arlovski at 33. So an 11 gap at heavyweight, which is super shallow. It's only like 35 guys deep. Like, that gap means something. It's pretty meaningful. I hate the Gazib loss to Buday, but I think Gazib probably beats Arlovski too. So like MMA math even doesn't really help Arlovski there. It sounds like we're both on Buday there, and it might rear its ugly head when it comes to the parlay assembly. We'll keep our neck pushing to this. What I think we got flyweights up next, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got Carlos Hernandez plus 360 taking on Ray Tsuruya, minus 525.
No bet for like 80 different reasons. We got a debut guy. We got a dog shit money line. Got a guy, Hernandez, who I'm not high on at all at 34 in my power rankings in a very thin division. There's like 80,000 reasons to not bet this fight. And do you feel differently?
I have Hernandez as 2 stars.
Oh, come on. All right, you've talked me out of a couple. Let me be it.
I'm not going to bet him. I'm not going to bet him, but the
All
plus
right,
360 is absurd against a guy that's never fought in the UFCs.
Like Hernandez Tsuruya, I believe, is undefeated. Like, I get it. That's why it's a no bet.
Just hear me out though. With like Hernandez, 5 fights in the promotion, 4 in the actual UFC, 2-2 in the UFC. Wins over Dennis Bondar, Victor Altamirano. Say what you will, not great, but with losses to Alan Nascimento, who I don't hate.
Very good.
And Tatsuro Taira, who I fucking love. Like, I love his losses more than I dislike his wins.
Hey, bro, I got a stats on everybody's team thing. Loses to Asian fighters 100% of the time. Lock that in.
I mean, 0 for 1, you're not wrong.
No, I'm fucking around.
I just think Tsuruya, this line is not justified. If you gave him to me at minus 240, sure, no bet. Carlos Hernandez plus 360, I might have to sprinkle.
It reminds me of Stephen Wynn, Jarno Aarons, when we're like, oh, Jarno Aarons sucks. But then, he at least had some experience and he beat the 8-0, 9-0 guy.
Experience is going to go far in this fight. And Hernandez is not an easy guy to finish.
No, I don't really disagree. I don't hate any of your points. It's just I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, I feel you. Value Grim. Like, I think I would rather assemble if I'm looking at if I'm trying to find a bet that's plus 360, I think I'd rather do like a Swanson Smith 2-legger than I would do a sprinkle.
Oh man, I don't know. See, that's super.
I know
that's
you don't disagree with that.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I know. I knew you wouldn't agree with that one, but I think I would rather or like an over under parlay or like a prop parlay in general, like parlay Talbott by KO and Robertson by sub, or you could probably do Talbott by KO, Pyfer by KO, and get a similar value there. And at least you're working with known commodities.
You would be similar in value with that double KO prop parlay. I won't lie, yeah. That's just as juicy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'd rather dance with that one. I'd rather dance with that one.
I don't know.
Dance with the devil,
I'd rather fade the Road to UFC guys. They're always so fucking bad. Who are they? Jekka Sergi, Anshul Jubilee. They're fucking dog shit. They get beat as minus 300 favorites, minus 400 favorites every fucking time. They're dog shit.
Oh, dude, that might have been the best argument you made.
I'm just saying, like, this guy's hype is from beating absolute dog shit cans, like guys that couldn't even make it to the regional scene here. Okay, well, give me the plus 360.
You're right. Like, I think it's fair to say, like, LFA is like a higher level than like Road to UFC.
100%, dude. Think about Charles Johnson. He's whooping the shit out of this guy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, I like that point. Hey, my man, Harrison. Fucking, I'll take it. I'm gonna have to take that one in red, brother.
I'm just saying, plus 360, very juicy.
We got one more to get to here. We got Ricky Simone taking on, is it Vinicius Oliveira?
Yeah.
There's like 9,000 Oliveiras.
It's a Vinicius Oliveira, you're correct. It's a fight I've tried to break down 5 times already, but clearly from all the times
Chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
Chomping at the bit. I'm going to let you go, bro. I'll tell you, the floor is yours, brother.
I appreciate you. Yeah, from all the times that I've broken it down here, I think it's pretty clear I have Ricky Simone as a 3-star. I think that...
Me too.
Okay, fair. Great. Because Vinicius Oliveira getting taken down by Sopai and controlled, Ricky Simone's not letting you back up, number 1. And if he is, you're getting taken right back down. And number 2, he ain't gassing out in the 3rd round for you to land a crazy flying knee to save your victory.
Yeah, and I mean, Simone is on a 2L streak, but like to Song Yadong and Mario Batista, like bona fide top 10 guys, which even the most bullish Vinicius Oliveira fan wouldn't tell you that he's that caliber of guy. Yeah, Vinicius Oliveira 1-0, and it was an electric KO. But this is exactly what we've been talking about here. We talked about it on the Jourdain breakdown. Like, you got to ride the experience here. And Simone, dude, I think Simone's going to take it personally being the curtain jerker. Like, Simone is literally, I think he's main evented fight nights before. Like, or I think he's main evented like arena fight nights.
He was ranked number 13 in this division at one point.
Bro, I think that this is going to be like a back against the wall moment. Like, kind of, all right, I gotta fucking reestablish myself. Vinicius Oliveira, super explosive, super dangerous guy. And there is like the slim chance we get like a Masvidal Askren moment here if he can catch him with that knee on the takedown.
If you're gonna bet Ricky Simone, you might as well hedge a Vinicius Oliveira first round KO because that's the only way he's winning if it happens.
Exactly. But I think this is a very strong parlay candidate just from hearing us both talk about it. I think that there's a strong chance this finds its way into our parlay. What's Simone sitting at? When I looked, he was like minus 238.
Minus 245, so about the same.
Yeah, about the same. Agreed, brother. Yeah, we're locked in. And if you want to just factor in my power rankings, which are a little bit skewed just because Oliveira only has one fight, we'll see how he kind of ends up, 12 months from now. But I have like Simone at 16, Oliveira at 48, which 48 at bantamweight's not bad. Like it sounds like I'm calling him a can, but I have him about halfway.
16 and 48, and you're talking about minus 245. You have to put it on a parlay. It's not even a question.
Agreed.
Like this should be minus 440.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, brother. And really, that final, it's time for best bets, folks. It's time for best bets. Like the time has come where we assemble these parlays. And it sounds like we just did the first leg. Simone's going to be leg one.
Before we get too deep, I'm going to grab a White Claw real fast before we get too deep. But yes, best bets.
Grab it. Yeah, man. Simone's perfect parlay builder under that minus 300 number. So we both like him a lot. It sounds like actually we talked ourselves into 4 stars. We both agree on the 3 stars. The wide power rankings gap sounds like a 4-star to me. There's that outside chance of the highlight KO of an explosive guy like Oliveira, but, that's not really bankable. You don't really want to bank on that type of shit. So, yeah. So, and I was about to say, we didn't officially add the 4-star, but we kind of did, right? Like we both entered into it with 3 stars. We both agreed on how the fight looks and the path to victories and all that. So the wide gap in the power ranking sounds like a 4-star to me, actually, whenever we kind of broke it down.
On Ricky Simone?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate going 4 stars on Simone. I think he absolutely belongs in our parlay. I think there's, no question about it.
Yeah.
I think
for sure.
I think the real question is, who are we throwing with him? Because not only does he match, our definition of, we're going to trust the experience, we're going to ride the guys we know. He also fits our own personal rankings. I think Tapology has crazy rankings differentials on this. And he's also opening the card. It's so disrespectful in my opinion.
It is. And I don't think Simone's washed or done or I think this is going to be a light of fire under his ass. No, for the second leg here, I guess the second safe leg is going to be Pyfer, right? Before we dig into the Budays and the Jourdains of the world, I think we feel better about Pyfer, right?
I mean, we both agree he's 4 stars. We don't have 4 stars on anyone else aside from the Simone potential upgrade there. I think those two are the dancing legs of the parlay.
Agreed. Now, I think as far as the fights we agree on in the official Beefy Bets parlay, we may have a few sprinkle parlays that on fights that we disagree on. But as far as the fighters that we agree on, it's down to Buday and Jourdain, right? Which I think
Smith.
we both feel. Yeah, I think Smith I'm going to do as a straight dog of the week straight. So I probably won't have him on a parlay. Granted, we do that as a fighter we agree on. So it looks like Smith is our dog of the week or as a straight bet.
I'll say it this way. If we're going between Jourdain and Buday, value is very different. I actually would take Jourdain just for the minus 120 because I think Buday has the potential to lose a snoozer of an asshole fight, and we would hate ourselves for losing a parlay with a minus 260 versus watching Jourdain win most of. I don't know, actually. Would I rather?
No, hear me out. I'm actually going to kind of go along with that but in a slightly different way. Kind of zoomed out. I got to stop betting on guys that like I don't really believe in. Martin Buday doesn't like inspire belief in me. Jourdain, like I feel much better about my hard-earned money being put on a guy like Jourdain than I do a guy like Buday.
Fair.
Just
I like that.
Kind of lens zoomed out. All right, so right now we're sitting at a Simone, Jourdain, Pyfer 3-legger. What's that value like? What are we sitting at here before we value Hunt on a fourth leg?
What is Pyfer sitting at as far as value? He is
so
minus
Pyfer is
300.
minus 300, Jourdain minus 120, and Simone minus 245. That sounds like a juicy 3-leg.
Plus 244.
That's worth some units. I think I might do a 2-unit on that. But I'll probably do a 1-unit on the fourth leg with Buday. So what does this look like plus Buday?
Let me get this marked down, plus 244, and then we'll add Buday in.
Buday's at minus 260.
Perfect, thank you. I was just about to ask. I think Buday's going to juice this out. Plus, not too much, plus 377.
No, I mean, that's some juice, dog. That's over 100 points for one guy. That's a big favorite. I ain't mad at that. I'll probably be. I won't speak for you, but it looks like for me, as far as my bankroll goes, I'm going 2 units on the 3-legger. Simone, Jourdain, Pyfer plus 244. 1 unit on Buday, fourth leg plus 377. Or let me see here. Fuck it. I've been pussyfooting around. I think I'm going to take the unit I was going to put on Swanson and just double down on Smith, 2 units.
Smith dog of the week.
Of the week. Yep. Smith dog of the week, 2 units. There's a lot of props I like here, and maybe even a couple of prop parlays. Are you wanting to go down the rabbit hole of adding fifth legs and super juicing this? Or I know that's usually more your realm of things than mine.
Man, if I am going that route, I'm adding Chiasson.
Okay, I'll hear it out.
And minus 110. Let's just see what it does. Because if I am going to
imagine,
plus 810.
Yeah, that's going to juice it. You got a fifth leg at minus 110.
It's almost
like juice it.
It's almost like I'd rather, if I'm gonna run the Buday and get the plus 133 on that, I might as well add Chiasson and get the plus like 550 differential instead.
It makes sense. You're at least getting the value for the risk. You know what I mean?
Right, like minus 110, and I average 2 stars, but I'm gonna get $400 more if I bet 100. I don't.
No, do you? Right. All right. Hear me out though. Do you feel better about Chiasson than Lopes? I feel like Lopes at minus 150 would do something very similar to the parlay value. And remember what I just talked about as far as people I like betting on? Like, I think I would feel better about.
I believe in Chiasson. I actually do. I think she's in her this is her run right now. This is the best she'll ever be. I think she's at her ceiling. And I think the last Bueno Silva we saw was descent from the ceiling.
For my own research purposes, will you sub out the minus 110 for a minus 150? I want to see what the fifth leg looks like with Lopes as opposed to Chiasson. Yeah, I think I'm more likely to bet that.
Plus 694.
Well, you do lose some value for not a wow. That's interesting how much it lost, but I guess makes sense. I still feel better about that. It kind of goes back to my overall. Remember when we were breaking it down, I said I was swapping out my no bet for Lopes for a Chiasson, so I just want to be consistent there. I think I would. Me personally, if I'm going to do a fifth leg, I would do Lopes before Chiasson. But that Chiasson juice is very real. Like, at least you're getting your money's worth.
Now, let me talk to you about a Robertson sub Pyfer KO parlay.
Please do. I love that.
Okay, so we're talking about plus 140, plus 240 as our 2 legs, right? And that brings us to plus 716.
Ooh, love that. And then will you do Talbott by KO minus 175 and Pyfer by KO plus 140? What does that look like?
So that one is probably going to be plus 277.
So a lot less, but also Vegas is telling you a lot more likely to happen.
See, that's what, where, like you asked me earlier, I would just rather take the Hernandez plus 360. I get $83 more to the 100, and I don't know. I think just one thing happening is easier than two things.
Also, man, the Talbott Ghemmouri under 1.5 at plus 105 kind of sounds like it might be worth a unit to me.
Okay,
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Let me ask you about this. You said over or under?
Under 1.5 Talbott Ghemmouri is plus 105.
Right, and then if you took the minus 160 from Yuri Poetin over, plus 235.
Yeah, man, the Yuri over.
Yuri's got a crazy chin. Like, he survives 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't feel, it just doesn't hit my guts. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't pass the vibe
I feel
check.
It didn't vibe. It didn't vibe me either. Now, what's our official prop of the week? Because dog, we got Anthony Smith. Parlays, we got 3 very juicy ones. I mean, 2 just direct fighters. We have a prop parlay. What's our favorite actual prop, though?
My favorite actual prop is Pyfer by KO plus 140. Just off the fact that I haven't factored in on 2 separate parlays. I'm going to have to pick one. But I like the Talbot KO, Pyfer KO 2-leg, and I also like the Robertson sub Pyfer KO 2-leg. Yeah, by definition, I like Pyfer by KO plus 140. That's definitely going to get a unit.
Yeah, the more I'm looking at it, the more I think. Let's see. I'm just doling out my units right now. So if a week for me is 10 units, then I have 2 on Smith, 2 on Pyfer by KO, 2 on our 3-leg, 2 on our 5-leg because I'm hunting the value and I believe in the other legs so much, or the other bets we have. I have 1 unit on Pyfer and Robertson parlay. Which leaves me with 1 more unit to throw. I might actually do 2 extra units, so 3 more units, because I have to do my Yuri bet, right? Just a unit. I almost want to sprinkle 1 on Hernandez as well, and maybe 1 on the page by decision.
So you like those more than the prop parlays? Or did you have a prop parlay included?
Oh, yeah, the Pyfer by KO Robertson sub, but I just have a single unit instead of a double unit.
Okay, yeah, plus 716 on the 2-legger is juicy. For sure, and seems totally, like, plausible.
I mean, it just seems like that's the way those not only the way those 2 win fights, but the way that their opponents are susceptible to losing fights. That actually, maybe I should just go 2 units on that, and then just Smith and Hernandez, or not Smith and Hernandez, Yuri and Hernandez sprinkles as my extra 2 units, 1 on each.
Yeah, that Hernandez sprinkle. I'm going to be stoked because I'm not betting that. So that's actually the best feeling in the world is rooting for your friend's bet. Because you get like almost all the thrill.
You get the juice without the actual like spurn of the loss. Bro, when I'm telling you, when you lost to Jared Gordon by decision, I literally, my heart sank and I was like, I feel so bad. I'm glad I don't have to feel that right now.
No, that's going to be me. Like, I'm going to be going ham if Hernandez pulls that off. I'm rooting for you, dog. I'm rooting for you, man. But yeah, bro, so official 3-leg parlay is going to be Simone, Jourdain, Pyfer, plus 244, 2 units. The 4th leg with Buday gets you to plus 377. I'll probably do an additional unit on that. And then
I'm taking the 5-leg version with Buday and Chiasson. 2 units for me on that, plus 810. We're looking to really hunt tonight. Or, well, Saturday.
He's on the prowl. He's on the prowl like a cougar on a college campus. And then we got the 2-unit Anthony Smith dog of the week.
Yes, sir. Riding that with you. 2
upset
units
alert.
on Smith.
Pyfer by KO. I might have to go 2 units on that. We'll see how it all. The only reason I'm either going to do one unit on that and then one unit on one of those prop parlays, or I might just go 2 units on Pyfer. We shall see. I mean, other kind of honorable mentions. I know Harrison's not on board, but I do not hate Swanson as a dog. That might get a sprinkle for me. Like, that's my version of the Hernandez pick. Maybe we should do that.
I was gonna say,
we'll do
go
our
ahead.
Homie sweat bets.
Homie sweat
bets.
Yeah.
Homie sweat new segment. All right, I'll put Cub down as the homie sweat. Hernandez will be yours. And then prop honorable mentions. If you got a decent little bankroll, Talbott by KO at -175, worth a shot. Talbott Ghemmouri under 1.5. If you have a less bankroll but have the similar mindset of Talbot getting the finish, +105, don't hate that. Do not hate Robertson by sub. See, Robertson by sub at +240, similar value to the Cub bet, but I'll do the homie sweat just for the fun of the seg. But yeah, Robertson by sub, strong honorable mention at +240.
Man, I'm nervous looking at my bets because I have 2 units on a +140. I have 1 unit on a +115. I have 2 units on a +125. I have 1 unit on a +360. And then I have 6 units across the 3 parlays that, span together like +1,800 between the 3 of them, It's just like, I feel like I'm reaching, but I really love my picks this week. And I told you coming in, it's a spicy week for me. It's a week where I'm either going to fall flat on my face or I'm going to find a lot of success, I think.
What's crazy, man, like from my perspective, I think the Chiasson leg is the riskiest part of it all. And then,
I agree entirely, and that's why I decided to up the Pyfer by KO Robertson sub to 2 units as well, trying to kind of hunt the value back on something I believe in a little more than 5 legs, 2 legs, but the way that those 2 fighters will win those fights if they are to perform well.
Agreed, man. Yeah, for sure, man. Like Robertson, that's what she does is gets hunt submissions, and then Pyfer, explosive kind of KO artist facing an aging guy that's been chinned.
And Barriault likes to trade, and Waterson-Gomez, long in the tooth, might trust her own grappling too much.
Agree, yeah. Totally see it the same way, man. Looking forward to this card. Got a pay-per-view. I keep saying it. I think I'm going to try to buy it early and save us that $10 or whatever. But, yeah, man, another fun episode of Beefy Bets, another good segment of Best Bets. Let's cash this tickets this week, man. And like I said, follow us on Twitter at Beefy Breakdown, Instagram, Beefy Boys Breakdown, and of course, like and subscribe to this video. Appreciate y'all watching it.